More stormy weather in the Southern Ocean, but subtropical winds for some in the north. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our weekend weather update and the outlook for half of next week. So we've got most of the weather coming through from the westerly side of the country for the next wee while. That means more westerly winds blowing through, more storms in the Southern Ocean. Check out this storm at the moment. That's the one that yesterday brought strong winds across New Zealand, big seas as well to the south. It is slowly weakening and moving away. It's going around Antarctica to the south, but there's more low pressure coming towards us. So New Zealand, half low pressure, half high pressure. That is the classic mid-spring squash zone setup where it's a little windier in many places. So here is the setup into the weekend. This is Saturday's forecast. So we've got a cold change coming up the South Island on Saturday. This is it here. Now with that warm weather changing to cooler weather, that sparks a few thunderstorms. So there'll be a few embedded thunderstorms on the west coast and around Southland potentially as well. A bit of rain and showers. The totals aren't too big, but some heavier falls down around Fiordland. We'll also see some showers moving into Canterbury or some spits of rain. It tends to fall apart, gets a bit messy. Same story around Marlborough and Nelson, although Nelson's got a higher chance of rain. And later on into Saturday, wet weather comes into that southwestern corner and brings also with it the slightly cooler change. Not so much felt for the North Island. Let's go to Sunday. Now there's a warming up on Sunday. High pressure to the north, subtropical winds, nor'westers, all starting to move in. They don't really arrive till the afternoon. So the morning might be a little cooler and then the afternoon things start to warm up. Look at the next big low forming over here. So that's really going to be with us next week. So let's go to Monday. This is the start of next week. It is the classic setup for a squash zone. High pressure is to the north, low pressure to the south. Everything in the middle is that squash zone between those air pressure systems. Lots of northwest winds pushing across the country. They'll be more northerly in some areas, a little more westerly in others, but generally speaking, nor'westers. There's the next storm, 959. That's 10 hectopascals higher than the low we've just had this week. In the same area too, down here in the Southern Ocean. So that means a lot more wind yet to come through, so that starts on Monday. On Tuesday, as that low tracks by, it does fall apart, but as it tracks by, that's when we get this sort of real surge of winds. So severe weather warnings are possible on Tuesday as those gale force westerlies move through, but it's subtropical for northern areas, so it's mild in the north, but in the south, not so mild as your weather continues to come out of the Southern Ocean. And our final map is for Wednesday next week. This is an interesting one because it shows a hint of La Nina here. Remember our climate update that we've just issued this week? If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's on our YouTube page. It's also in the news section of our Weather Watch homepage and app. So this low forming here, likely to bring in a burst of wet weather next week, later next week for the upper North Island. It also brings in this warmer weather on the back of the high across the north, and in the south it's still windy, but as that storm tracks away, the next high coming in a little bit further south, so that might sort of have its sights set on the South Island a little better than the previous highs have done. Also over in Australia, rainmakers up here, rainmakers coming down towards Perth. There is a bit of sign of life up here. We haven't been talking about the tropics much lately, but there are some signs of life up here in the north. We may even be seeing our first tropical storm in the next couple of weeks. Definitely not locked in, but this area up here to the northwest looking a little bit vulnerable around Vanuatu, New Caledonia, Coral Sea area. We'll see how that goes. Our next update will be early next week, Monday. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend.